Hi, welcome once again to In Perspective. I am Bob Branco. He's Al Ensel. Today we're very pleased to have our very first special guest on the show. His name is Stephen Thieberge, and he's going to talk to us about a subject that affects, unfortunately, lots of people in this country and around the world, and that is Facebook addiction. He wrote a column in Consumer Vision magazine recently, which I was quite impressed with about this subject matter. And all I can say is if you want to read the column, just write to me at Bob Branco 93 at gmail.com and subscribe to Consumer Vision. That way you can read Steve's column. Steve, why do you feel that Facebook is addictive?
Well, that's a big question. I wrote the article I was kind of like tongue in cheek when I started, but I was like, well, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, especially with the iPhones and I was listening to NPR on I think it was October 13th, and they were talking about how the iPhones and the designers designed it so that it was very addictive. They had a study where people would have their iPhones with them and doing an intelligence test, and the people that had their iPhones even turned off and flipped over, it was distracting to them. And I guess the thing with when I wrote the article, it was like when I first was on, I did Facebook mostly because it's like I want to sell my book, and I know some people on there, and I don't have 1,000 friends. But at first, it was like I'm reading these things. It's like so and so is going to a restaurant, and la di da di da. And it's like I'm actually one of those people who's like, oh, I'm looking at the MBTA, and I'm checking into this place and that place. And in the beginning, I was like, this is crazy. I think it's just because it's the instantaneous thing. It's like you say, okay, I'm just going to put this, and you have to think about it, what you're doing on there. It's like some people have such a level of detail. It's like I don't understand that.
So you found yourself doing what other people were doing?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I have some control because I know some people are like constantly. But I think the big thing is that when you friend people, it's like I really only have friends and family on there because I mean, how can you have 1,000 friends? I mean, I don't see that. I probably have acquaintances on there. I might have 75 at the most. I don't even think it's that much, but it's friends and family I have. So I'm not like some people say, you have 1,000 friends? That's really addictive. So yeah, in the sense I was kind of like in the beginning, it's like, oh yeah, so and so is going to this such and so restaurant, and I think it's pretty harmless for the most part. But on the other hand, it's like it's like a reflex. It's like, oh, like I'm doing that. It's like I'm going to work. It's like, oh,
it's not harmless. I think in some cases they have their phones with them on the road. They want to use them. They want to get reactions from people. I mean, I've had posts from people who take pictures of their dinners with the food inside their plate, and they're telling the whole world what they're eating. I have another post where a teenager reported to all of his friends publicly that he had just had sex and that it felt good. And this leads to the issue of cyberbullying, Steve, and I pointed this out on a previous show. I think cyberbullying is a direct result of too much personal laundry going out on social media by individuals.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably would be a whole other show. But I don't have any. I haven't had any issues with. I think it depends how you throw out your, who you're contacting, because, like I said, the people I know, I do public posts for my book, of course, but the people I know on Facebook it's all friends. you're probably opening up the can of worms. So, like, I've never really had that issue with the, you know, I mean, on the Blind Pen Pal, sometimes you see people and they get angry, and it's like, but this is like, I can't answer every post. I mean, I think sometimes people open themselves up too much. Like, like you said, it's a serious thing, but it's like, if I'm saying, oh, I'm going to work, you know, you're going to see that, everyone else is going to see, but yeah, it's not harmless, like you said, in a sense, but it's like, how are you throwing out that your net? I guess you could call it. It's like public post everyone, and that's going to open up a big can of worms.
Alan?
So, Steve, what I wanted to try to get, I read your article, and I, like Bob, was extremely fascinated by it. And I guess the thing that I took away, correct me if I'm wrong, about one of the main points you were trying to communicate is that you started out sort of observing people becoming obsessed with always being on, let's say, for instance, in this case, Facebook. And what you were trying to live the experience of setting up or getting more involved with it to see why there was such an addiction or obsession by Facebook users. Is that kind of the point of your article?
Well, I think I'm kind of in the middle because, you know, I grew up with pen pals being literal male, and I kind of, you know, like I said, the article was kind of a joke. I mean, I said tongue in cheek, but I said we have to all observe our habits. It's just in the beginning, I was like, Facebook? Why would I go on Facebook? And so I'm not, I mean, it's all relative, but I'm not really, I think like some people are on there all the time. I mean, I could have gone on Facebook and said, I'm going on Bob and Alan's show. So there's the question of how, you know, what do you call Facebook addiction? Or, you know, like I said, it was kind of a joke when I did the article, but it's not a joke in that sense. But I was like trying to figure out, you know, where do you draw the line? I mean, what do we say we're technology addicts? I mean, are we Skype addicts? Because not all except the Skype didn't work, and I'm on my Bob's regular phone. But it's kind of a balance thing. I just kind of was observing myself in the old days. It was like, God, if we had Facebook when I was at Perkins, that would have been, I can't even imagine, you know, rolling it back to the 70s, and we had Facebook. And it's funny because now it's kind of like full circle. You have people that they have old time radio online. So it's not, Facebook's not bad. It's just how you use it. And it's kind of like I said in the article. It's like I'm not really hurting anyone except myself. And maybe if I'm wasting my time and say, oh, okay, Steve's here and Steve's there, and it's not really harmful per se, but it's just like, well, I can twiddle my thumbs, or I can say, oh, I'm waiting for the bus, or I'm going home. So it's the balance. It's what do we consider? You know, I mean, I'm not going to put I had sex on Facebook. That's ridiculous. Or put pictures. I did some pictures, but it's like where do we draw that line?
Well, I know that. Go ahead, Al.
Well, first. And I like that, Steve. You're really speaking my language of moderation here, because, and I think you even directly addressed this point when you sort of constructed the article around what sounded like a social media experiment to see how far this thing would go, and then it sort of began. You sort of got caught up in the whole, in a satirical way, I suppose, or semi-satirical way, obsessional part of this whole thing, and then you kind of toward the end of the article, I thought, if I'm remembering correctly, sort of pointed out we need to be real careful about not letting this interfere with the meaningful, social, meaningful parts of our lives. And if we can kind of sort of hang with a balance where it all remains good in moderation, then there's nothing, there doesn't have to be anything really extreme or bad about the social media, or in this case, Facebook's experience.
Yeah, and I go back to my father, and I in the article I mentioned somebody being addicted to television, which people nowadays feel like less. But it is a moderation. But my father always used to say, electronic, turn off the TV, turn off the radio, and I still enjoy electronic TV. Go out. I don't need sometimes I want to take my iPhone out and take a picture of nature. I don't think that's bad, but sometimes it's like, do that. I just want to walk and enjoy the beautiful day, and it's like I can always tell somebody how it was later. It's like I think the marketing is definitely, but we say, oh well, they kind of control our minds, but we control ourselves, because, like I said, it was kind of like tongue-in-cheek and semi-satirical, like you said, but sometimes it's like, I don't have to take my iPhone or I think with the smartphones it's a lot easier, because, like when you're on your computer and with the iPhone, especially with JAWS and all that, it's a little harder to do that. But with the iPhones and the smartphones, like, it's almost like you can just do it and you don't think about it. So yeah, the moderation, electronic piece, sometimes it's like, I put on do not disturb my phone all the time. It's like, I don't want to telemarketers. I don't want to get notifications. So it's the balance.
You mentioned your father and television. And I guess in those days, that was one of the main addictions. Here's the difference, though, between television and Facebook. You couldn't take your television with you wherever you went. You had a certain time of the day when you sat back and watched TV. Facebook is with you 24/7 if you let it. There's the difference.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big difference, too. It's like we'd wait a whole week for a show, and now it's like you can watch all day whatever show you want to watch on Netflix or TV or wherever. It's like, if you don't have that, I don't think younger people get it. It's like, it's instant gratification. I mean, it sounds so corny, but it's like, it's true. You can watch it on TV, cable, whatever, Netflix, the whole 3 years of whatever show you want to watch, and you just sit there all day. But in the old days, it's like, wow, I gotta see what happens next week. It's like, join us next week, and you waited all week, and you go to the library and get actual books. But one good thing, I've actually noticed that people are actually reading hardcover books.
Again.
I don't know the numbers on that, but I actually did hear on Amazon they were saying that the actual numbers with the actual hardcover books are going up. Not that ebooks aren't selling, but that's kind of encouraging, because you actually have to put something into it.
Mm-hmm. You're actually, Steve, you brought out another point about how smartphone technology, I think this is what you said, really benefits the blind in one sense, where it gives us a lot of intuitive freedom to be able to access a bunch of the digital highway. And then if we just employ the discipline of moderation and balance in the process, it may, that could be a whole nother show that we could, look at. Tapping you about is the huge freedom and benefits of smartphone technology, and how it can literally open up a digital world for blind people, as opposed to the more cumbersome and awkward ways of doing it on your conventional computer, like a desktop.
Yeah, well, but that it's probably could have a whole bunch of shows on different parts of the smartphone, because when I'm at work and I'm not doing Facebook, and I'm only doing that when I'm at the bus, I can say, I know somebody else tell me, you know, I know, like a lot of the folk rehabs, like we don't give anyone smartphones, and whatever the reason, but I think it's so liberating because it just makes you more equal as far as like you say, okay, I know when the next bus is coming. I don't have to rely, and there's just so many other things. Like you have GPS. It tells you what restaurants are around, and that's just an equalizer for low vision and blind. It's not. I mean, people say, "Oh, that's wonderful," but it's like that just makes us equal because. And it's funny because I see people on their smartphones, they're not even looking up at the signs, and this is like, oh, there's a restaurant 20 feet away from you, and it makes me more aware of my environment. But I think we could do a lot of shows about just so many different aspects of smartphones.
Steve, you just reminded me of a true story that I heard from a gentleman a couple of years back. I was helping him edit his book, so he was dictating his life experiences to me, and he was talking about an incident. And he's a blind man. He was walking around downtown, I don't know if it was Boston, and he wanted to know where I'll just throw out a business. I don't remember specifically what business he was talking about. He wanted to know where a certain bakery was. So he went up to this stranger and he asked him, "Where is Bakery X?" Now, mind you, Bakery X was 15 feet from him. The individual that he asked picked up his smartphone and used a GPS to tell him where the bakery was that was 15 feet away from him. That's when you know that people are addicted, when they start doing things like that.
Well, that's a good point because when I've done the GPS just because, like, when I'm on my bus route and I'm like listening to the announcements, and I kind of, because I don't know the route, I'm like, okay, if I'm on Washington Street, then I can turn it up there until they announce such and such. But it's not 15 feet. It's like, it's not that accurate sometimes. It's like, oh, it's 100 feet behind you. It's like, I know this already. So sometimes you have to just say, I mean, it's crazy because it'll be right in front of you and the GPS won't even know it.
Well, this is not so much about the GPS, Steve. It's about the fact that you've got a business right next door to you. People should say to you, "Oh, it's right there. Just it's this way to your right. It's right there."
Yeah.
Instead of guiding you physically a few feet to where the store is, they're going to get on their devices and say, "Let's see, let me Google it and tell you where it is."
Yeah.
It's right in front of them.
Well, that kind of brings the orientation and mobility thing, kind of, because, like I was saying, the GPS is, when you're talking 15 feet, sometimes it's not good. It's like, look up. If you can see, especially, or have a sense of where you are. Yeah, exactly. I get it. It's like, yeah.
And a lot of sighted people now, they have their heads down when they're walking the streets because they're looking at their devices. And I've heard several instances where they literally crash into objects. They're the ones with the sight, Steve. And they're crashing into people. They're crashing into telephone poles because they're looking at their devices. This is an issue, too.
That's probably a bigger issue than what we're talking about, because I've run into that a lot of times. It's like, what I can see, it's like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention." Yeah. So yeah, that how do we, we talk about smartphones helping the blind, but it's like, it's kind of impairing. You hear about the accidents, people are driving, and I don't think it's just texting. They're talking about passing laws, which is, that's fine, but I think common sense sometimes. You can pass all the laws in the world, but even talking is distracting. It's like you have to step. How do we do that? I think that kind of was like my article was kind of like I was saying was kind of being sarcastic, but on the other hand, it was like, how do we separate that out? You just have to say, hey, I'm gonna because I've done that. It's like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to put this on Facebook, or I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that. So it's just a matter of balancing out. But yeah, the thing with people with the smartphones that are sighted, like you said, Bob, it's really, I don't, like I said, I don't, and I used to think, oh, it's the younger people, but I've seen older people. It's, everyone has a smartphone because it's so easy.
Alan?
Yeah, no, I'm just really taking it all in, Steve. And I think you brought a different dimension to this sort of Bob and I's discussion about smartphone technology. We've had a couple of podcasts on different aspects of it that we touched, both good and bad. And I think you bring very much this balance of where it can be beneficial and how you can allow it, if you do, to rule your life, and how we just need to understand and take advantage of the benefits of it, and at the same time being mindful that we can go too far. And I think you're a live example, Steve, of a blind person who utilizes smartphone technology to the ultimate benefit. And it sounds like you're continuing to expand with it, getting better at it, and at the same time knowing that you could go too far if you allowed it to.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to figure out, like, expanding it, like we're talking about other people. It's like, I don't know what they're doing in the schools, but it's like, I think they kind of, I know a lot of people say, okay, bring your tablet and bring, but it's like, how do you give them the experience, people, younger people, like, actually going to a library and getting a book, because not everything's online. There's a lot online, but I look up stuff online sometimes and it's like, well, I'm glad I know about so-and-so, because you go online sometimes, yeah, 99.9% of the time, it's like you're going to find, and then again, is that accurate? Sometimes it's good to just go, I can't think of any examples, but it's like sometimes you go online and people say, I can't believe that's not online. And then sometimes you go online and it's like misinformation. Wikipedia, that's great, but it's like everyone's like, oh, that's it. It's Wikipedia, that's, in the old days, we would actually go in those, look at the cards and, but they still have libraries. I don't know what, like I said, what they're teaching the younger people nowadays. I would hope it's kind of balancing that out.
I remember, Steve, going to public school in 1972, and my grandmother got my brother and I a full set of Encyclopedia Britannica. And that was the end all be all. But you are absolutely correct. I think we're in a flex, societal transitional thing where it's clear that we are now moving into a different way of gathering and disseminating information, Steve. And it's very, very clearly through convenience and technological expansion going the way of electronic devices to get our information. And I think it's up to the educators to make sure that as kids are coming through learning their research techniques, et cetera, and in other applications where you want to make sure that the information you're getting is accurate, that we need, until we can vet, until we can validate specific areas of electronic media as valid as, say, Encyclopedia Britannica and other, solid sources like that. Until that standard actually is met, we do have to be really, really careful. And I'm hopeful that professors and teachers, who teach young people coming up, that electronics is great and information is out there, but you need to make sure that there's a way that you can validate it.
We are out of time, gentlemen. Steve, I want to thank you for your thoughtful discussion and honesty about where you stand with Facebook. Hopefully, we will all learn from this. By the way, I just want to briefly mention Steve has written a book called The Metja Message. It combines sci-fi with his experiences at the Perkins School.
Bob, you may want to just spell that out, that first part, because it may not be totally clear.
Steve, how do you spell that quickly?
I probably should just give you the website.
Yeah. Why don't I do that, Steve? It's www.dldbooks.com/Stephen Theberge / and Stephen has a PH, not a V. I do have
spell Theberge. You need to make sure we get it.
TheBerge / at the end there. So it's STEPHENTHEERGE / To write to us at In Perspective, it's Branco182@Verizon.net. That's Branco182@Verizon.net. Steve, thank you.
Thank you.
Alan?
Take care, everybody. And I'm kind of thrown off here. Okay, so you can contact me at, if you wish to, at Lone Wolf 771 LONEWOLF 771 at Verizon.net with any comments, or you may contact me by voice only at 508-478-3882. Steve, I had a tremendous time with you. I'm sure we'll try and have you back if you're willing, because there's certainly a lot of ideas that we could go back and forth with in discussion.
Oh yeah, I think we need more time. Like, especially because I was thinking it's an hour, but like half hour. Yeah, but there's so many angles we could do. Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Thanks. We'll have you back, and hopefully we'll have you on Skype next time.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other.
We'll talk about it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Thank you again, and thanks for listening, everybody.
Take care, everybody.